Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. As you guys know, the situation surrounding Shannon Sharpe has been, it's been a big surprise, right? Especially if you think about where Shannon is coming from in terms of the heights that he was at. And it's also important to state that he's still there, right? Shannon Sharpe is still one of the biggest voices in sports media. He's still talked about a lot. He's still very popular. His podcasts still get a lot of views, a lot of downloads. So I don't want to overblow the thing like, oh, Shannon Sharpe just disappeared. He didn't. But ever since he left FS1, where he was pretty much a big deal there, his career in media just absolutely exploded. And it kicked off with that famous, which probably then became infamous, but still famous interview that he had with Cat Williams that absolutely broke the internet, right? That interview broke the internet. And the individual interview, I think, got, at one point I remember it was at 60 million views, right? Became the most watched interview ever in YouTube history, broke Joe Rogan's record. The interview now must be at least 70 something million views, just the individual interview. But then if you combine all the separate clips, right, that he released subsequently, that interview now must have at least 120, 30 million views, right? It was just crazy stuff. And it was a seminal moment for Shannon Sharpe's career, and it was one that pushed him into a stratosphere that he hadn't been before, where it essentially became the big three, if we're talking sports media, with Shannon Sharpe, Stephen A. Smith, and Pat McAfee, right? He then went to ESPN First Take, and he was bringing in record-breaking numbers. But in the aftermath of that Cat Williams interview, yes, it came with a lot of success. It came with a lot of exposure, obviously a lot of money. He himself said, I think he made over $5 million off of that interview alone, or he said he made more money on that one interview than he did in a single season playing as a professional NFL player. So Shannon Sharpe made a lot of money from that interview. But with the success came a lot of turmoil, right? And it came in the form of the enemies that he created. And it was just born out of the nature of the interview, where essentially you had Cat Williams, who now seems like a seer, right? Because Cat Williams came on there, he talked about Diddy got arrested. Then he talked about Shannon Sharpe, and I have nothing against white women, but what he said, oh, you need to be afraid of white women and all of that stuff. And then now he finds himself in that situation. So Cat Williams looks like a damn oracle. But with that interview came a lot of drama, because Cat was going at a lot of famous people, right? And a lot of famous people got upset with Shannon Sharpe for basically creating a platform for where Cat would go out there and trash various comedians. And then, of course, he had the Monique interview where she came on there and she voiced her grievances of various people. I think she even spoke, what was it, against Steve Harvey? I don't remember, but Shannon ended up making a lot of enemies along the way, right? Where a lot of people said that, look, they're not going to go to Club Shay, they call it Club Messe. That's what they used to say, right? It was pretty bad. But then we fast forward, Shannon experienced a lot of success, and just about a month or so ago, we heard that Shannon Sharpe was in line to get a $100 million contract for an amalgamation of podcasts I believe that he owns. And then all of a sudden that $50 million bombshell lawsuit dropped, and it just became one thing after the other. Me and like many other people have been covering the story. So this morning I was going through the internet, I came across an article from Vibe.com, Vibe magazine, and it has the following headline saying, Stephen A. Smith believes Shannon Sharpe became a target after viral Cat Williams interview. Smith blasts those seemingly taking joy in witnessing Sharpe's potential downfall. Stephen A. Smith is standing firmly behind his First Take co-star Shannon Sharpe amid growing controversy, expressing disappointment over the recent public scrutiny and backlash Sharpe has faced after being hit with sexual assault allegations. During an interview with radio host Big Boy, Smith addressed the ongoing sexual assault lawsuit filed against Sharpe and how he believes the fervent reaction from some in the media and elsewhere is no coincidence. People have been after him ever since he did the Cat Williams interview, the Queens native said, referring to the explosive interview in which Cat Williams delivered unfiltered takes on various celebrities and his career. garnering millions of views within days of its release in January 2024. They've been in his neck because of the numbers he produced and the success that it had and how he was able to ride the wave, Smith said. Smith didn't shy away from calling out those he sees as a malicious wave of backlash aimed at Sharpe. While acknowledging that the public discussion of the lawsuit is inevitable, Smith criticized the tone and energy some critics have brought to the conversation. I'm not talking about what people are talking about and what they have to talk about. I'm talking about the zest with which they do it, he stated. You see a joy that some people are having in going at him, and that's sad. You can talk about it, but we know the difference in terms of the flavor that you're bringing to an equation where you're talking about somebody with glee and joy in your voice when you're talking about the kind of predicament they're in. And that's what I got a problem with. Smith concluded by sharing his concern not only for Sharpe's personally, but the impact this could have on First Take. To see the great things that he has been doing, and to know the potential is out there for all of this to be derailed, I'm incredibly sad for him. I'm sad for us as a show because we're better with him than without him. But right now, it's about getting him. It's about him getting his house in order and doing what he can to get past all of this. And then the article then goes on to say a few other things there. So you heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say. Some people will probably applaud Stephen A. Smith for coming to the defense of Shannon Sharpe, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. People had talked about this. Mace at one point had brought up why did you defend Jay-Z and you didn't defend Shannon Sharpe initially? What are my thoughts on this? Look, it gets annoying listening to Stephen A. Smith wag his fingers at people and call out people for things that he himself does. Let's just keep it a stack here. Stephen A. Smith is defending Shannon Sharpe for two reasons and two reasons only. One, because he has a personal relationship with him. Two, because he's a colleague of his. That is all. He's talking about the fervor and this and how people are talking about it and the zest and the flavor. Did you see any of Stephen A. Smith's clips when he was talking about the Diddy case? Did you see any of them? I suggest you go back and look at some of those. Just search Stephen A. Smith and Diddy. Go look at some of those videos of Stephen A. Smith going at Diddy, going off on Diddy, using every opportunity he can to talk about Diddy. Every opportunity, inviting in Torre. Everybody came to his show. At one point, he even had Jada Kiss on there talking about Diddy. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? This the dude that's talking about the flavor and the zest at which people are going to shit. Like, bro, what are we talking about? Like, let's stop the nonsense. Let's stop the nonsense. Let's stop this sanctimonious behavior. You talked about Diddy the way you talked about Diddy because, one, you probably thought it was the wave because everybody was getting at Diddy. So it was the wave. I'm going to ride that wave and get at Diddy too. It's something to talk about. It's something that's going to generate a lot of views and downloads for my podcast. So I'm going to do that. There was no, people taking glee out of it and how they're talking about it. You was going off on it. You were letting your feelings be known. You were hollering, especially when I think he took down the video of an apology. What are you doing? And blah, 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 blah. You had a lot to say. You had a lot to say. But now you want to turn around and start pointing fingers and wagging fingers at other people for how they decided to discuss the Shannon Sharpe situation. I'm lost. How can you call out a behavior that you yourself have done? I'm lost here. I'm lost. A lot of this comes down to people. A lot of this comes down to who we like and who we don't like. There was a green light on Diddy because a lot of people don't like Diddy. It is a fact. So it was okay to go at Diddy, call him whatever names. They was calling him no Diddy and all this other stuff because people don't like him. Right? But in the case of Shannon is way more likable than Diddy. So therefore, people will say, oh, no, don't say this, don't say that, don't say this. Don't say. Well, it has nothing to do with whether or not you're covering a story. It has do I like this person or not? That's all it is. But to wag your fingers, I'm just the people making the like, yo, bro, stop. There's a whole bunch of videos of you going at people And in many cases, before even the news came out, go look at some Deshaun Watson videos of you going at people. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, let's stop with the hypocrisy. Let's just stop. Just say, that's my man, and I don't like the fact people going at him. But don't try to play this role of, oh, I'm above it all, and you guys are trying to take shots at Shannon, and people are trying to, man, stop. Stop. We just watched literally the whole internet railroad Diddy. Matter of fact, the whole internet has already put Diddy in jail. The trial is supposed to start May 5th. A lot of people already got him under the jail. Under the jail. But these be the same people that talk around, oh, man, you know, you hating on a black man. I know you dudes. I know you dudes. Oh, man, you hating on a black man. You don't want to see a black man succeed. No Diddy. We did we put up a poll just yesterday on our channel where I asked the audience, I said, do you think it's time for LeBron James? Is it time for LeBron to leave the Lakers? And out of the 8,000 people that have voted, 85% of them said yes, it's time. The 15% of them said no. Okay. I said after the Lakers lost this series to the Minnesota Timberwolves, in the live that I did, immediately after that, I said, son, it's time for you to leave the Lakers, man. I supported the Lakers for over 15 years as a Kobe fan. I have not been able to support the Lakers ever since LeBron stepped foot into that arena. I just can't do it. I can't do it with the antics, the chaos, the drama, I just can't do it. And I, like many Laker fans who are in recess, and there are a lot of them, are just like, yo, bro, it's been, 8 seasons? Just move on to another franchise, man. All right? It wouldn't be the first time you've done it. You've done it 3 times. You can do it one more time. Just go to another franchise. Just go to another franchise, right? We've been pleading. And based off of some of the comments that I'm hearing, I think LeBron's going to come back next season. And I think there's a high likelihood that he's going to come back to the Lakers again. And we got to endure this for another year, unfortunately. But there are some people out there that have taken it a step further. Some people are not saying LeBron should leave the Lakers. Some people are saying it's time for LeBron James to leave the NBA. And one of those people was Rob Parker. Rob Parker, I came across a clip of him yesterday on Fox Sports Radio, where he went on this epic rant, where he essentially said LeBron James should retire from the NBA. He said that the longer LeBron stays and the more he loses is actually diminishing his legacy than uplifting it. For those of y'all who didn't hear this classic rant from Rob Parker, I want to play for you now, and I'm going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to what Rob had to say here.
And my biggest point of all in saying all of this is very simple. In LeBron James's last 3 appearances in the playoffs, the last 3 with the Lakers, he is now 2-12. 2-12. 2-12 with Anthony Davis? And 2-12 with Luka? Really? So he's had AD and Luka on his squad, and he's 2-12 in the NBA playoffs. And he looked all of 40 last night. I got one message to LeBron James. A, you deserve all of this because you keep messing around with the teammates, the roster. At least you won a championship with AD. Messing around with the roster, messing around with the coaches. Told Darvin Ham, who took you to the Western Conference Finals and won an in-season tournament, you'll hang a banner. He was no good. You get your podcast partner, J.J. Redick, with no experience. And guess what? He got out-coached and looked terrible. And you can point to J.J. Redick, but the bottom line remains LeBron James should retire. Pull the plug. 40 years is enough. You're 40 years old. How long do you want to play? You want to keep losing? You want to not get to the point where you're not even making the playoffs? Is that the end game? LeBron, stop it already. What are you trying to do? Because if you think the longer you play, you're actually going to get closer to Michael Jordan, I'm here to tell you, the longer you play and the more you lose, the worse off it gets. Most people don't think that you're the GOAT anyway. But after these last 3 years, how can anybody in their right mind think LeBron James is the GOAT when he's 2-12 and been knocked out of the playoffs in his last 3 first rounds? Really? Is that where we are? Come on, man. Stop it. Pull the plug. Even Tom Brady eventually had to just pull the plug. Pull the plug on it. It's ugly going to fugly. Enough. Oh, wait till next year. You think he's going to get better defensively or have more energy in the fourth quarters as he gets older? It doesn't even make sense to me. You don't get better when you get older. You get slower, and more tired. Go rewatch the tape and watch the game from last night. It was bad. The time has come. And if LeBron can't do it, I hope he has some friends or minions or maybe even his family to say, hey, it's time to come on home. You've done enough. What more do you want? Alex, am I crazy or not?
No, Rob. Do you want to know why? It's funny because if you look at like the historic history of the Lakers, what's the one thing that they're subserviently always abiding by? Stars, right? They let Kobe play as long as he wanted, have his whole final farewell season, and of course, he's done a lot for him. But when do you cut your losses, correct? And so the thing with LeBron that actually makes me laugh, you've said everything correct. What has he really done for the Lakers? Like, truly. He won a Disney championship when nobody was able to play in front of fans. Congratulations. You played in a fake arena with fake fans with nobody around. Good job. Like, what have you done, like, when it actually counts? Where have you been to show anything? And this is the funniest thing is he's complained since day one when you say about coaches. It's funny. Like, look it up. Dude, I literally looked this up. Oh, Walton's the problem. Let's get rid of him. So then Vogel comes in. They win a championship. Mickey Mouse won. Let's keep him around for 2 years. Oh, they start sucking again. We got to get rid of him, too. Here's Darvin Ham. Oh, again, we suck and we keep losing. So now it's got to be J.J. Redick, right? I just don't think it's kind of like conceptually understandable by sports fans that we're just allowing the image of LeBron James to dominate whatever he wants now. And it's funny because it's like we're looking up to an old man who's past his prime. And we're still sitting here saying he's the best in the world. Yet you just said Ant literally did nothing and they won. Like, isn't that insane?
And they won in L.A.
And then he walks
in
around.
a closeout game.
Yes. And then he walks around L.A. saying, I sent y'all home.
Did you see that video?
It's insane.
On social media.
And nobody's
he was walking the streets of L.A.
and Rob
saying, I sent y'all home. And everybody was saying, oh, the Lakers in 5. Not even like a close series. The Lakers in 5 mean a whitewash, that they were going to bum rush them, that they were going to roll over them. And the idea that that's where they are.
So you heard what Rob Parker had to say. Now, I agree with a lot of the stuff that Rob says, but there's one thing I don't understand about what Rob Parker says. Rob Parker has been very critical of LeBron James, like extremely critical of him over the last year or two, but then still has him in his top 2. I don't understand that. I don't understand that part of it. Like, I don't get that part, but I digress. Rob is saying that the longer LeBron plays, the more it hurts his legacy. Essentially what he's saying is this. LeBron has played 22 years? Okay. Let's say LeBron plays another year. Well, at 20 years, LeBron had won 4 championships. In 22 years, he's still sitting on 4 championships. Let's say LeBron plays for another 2 years. That means LeBron would have won 4 championships in 24 years. That is a crazy stat. That is actually crazy. And what Rob is saying is this, and there's a point that Stephen A. Smith brought up yesterday on First Take with Jay Williams and Kendrick Perkins. He's saying, if it's clear you're not winning championships and the Lakers are not going to win a championship next year, forget about it. What is the point of you still playing? What's the point if we're talking about a player of your caliber? What is the point? You're not going to win the MVP. You're not going to win Defensive Player of the Year. You're not going to lead the league in scoring with Luke and all of these other guys in the NBA. You're not going to win a championship. So what's the purpose of still playing? And he's saying the more you go out there and continue to lose and lose and lose and lose and lose, it makes you look bad in comparison to the other greats, and in specific, Michael Jordan. Folks, let me contextualize something for you. Michael Jordan played with the Bulls effectively for 12 years, although he was there with 13 years. In the 12 seasons that Jordan played in, half of those seasons, he was winning championships. The other first half, the other 6, or the other 5, he didn't even have an all-star teammate. Or the other 6. Are you aware of that? It was Jordan's 6th year in the NBA that he was finally able to have one all-star as his teammate. That's when Scottie Pippen developed into an all-star. I believe that was in 92, 93. And what happened? The moment he got one all-star caliber player, he won 3 championships in a row. Right? So Jordan was just there winning. In the case of LeBron, I don't know how many years he spent as a Cavalier. He won 1 championship. I don't know how many years he spent with the Heat. He won 2 championships. I don't know how many years he's been with the Lakers. 8 years, he's won 1 championship. This is not looking good. And what Rob is saying is that all of these other counting stats that Clutch Sports and his supporters try to prop up, people don't care about. The 40, the 50,000, nobody cares. This is the point. Like, nobody cares. At a certain point, it's like, okay, bro, we've seen it all. It's like, okay, bro, you can go home now. Like, we know you're good. We know you played long. So you can go home now. Let somebody else have a shot. That's where people are. And Rob is like, the Lakers are going to continue to lose. This thing of, oh, they're going to retool and they're going to come. Bro, y'all are living in a total delusion. They're not winning nothing next year. Nothing. They're not going to win. If there were 5 teams to win a championship that we would pick, Lakers wouldn't be one of them. Like, they're not winning nothing next year. And then if you have another year when you don't win, to use LeBron's word, it's a disappointment. It's a disappointment. And if LeBron is synonymous for playing for championships, then you're not winning any. What's the purpose of all of this? That's what Rob is saying. And then Rob is probably also saying that people, you can what is it? Outwear your stay, or forgot the terminology. Like, you can just get to the point where people are like, okay, we're tired. Okay, man, thanks, man. You can get to that point. Now, I didn't say LeBron should retire. I didn't say that. I've talked about, I think he will retire at certain points. I didn't say he should retire. Rob is saying that. I'm just saying, please go to another franchise. Channel. So it seems like JJ Redick is finally getting his time under the sun, right? JJ found a way to escape through the entire NBA season and not get criticized. I remember going back and forth with Gilbert Arenas. Man, call out JJ. Call out JJ. Nah, man, I'm not calling him out. Call out JJ. Call out. I'm not going to call him out. You know, Darvin Ham did it. I'm like, call out JJ. Oh, man, I'm not going to call him. I'm not going to call. Well, looks like it's time to call him out, right? Because the undisputable fact is Darvin Ham's first year compared to JJ Redick's first year was a greater success. There's no argument about it. First of all, Darvin Ham won that useless ass in-season tournament cup. Something that a lot of Laker fans and LeBron fans were celebrating. Hell, they even hung a banner. Think about the embarrassment that was. They were popping bottles of champagne like they won a championship. So that meant something, right? In that same first year, Darvin Ham helped lead them to the what? To the Western Conference Finals. That was his first year as a head coach. The following season, they lost to the Denver Nuggets, I think, in 5 games. So JJ was supposed to be this upgrade. And guess what, folks? The Lakers went out in 5 games. Because the excuses they were using before was, oh, man, you know, if we can get anybody but Denver, if we can just get anybody but Denver, we'll be fine. If we can get just anybody but Denver. And then what happened? What happened? Was this last team that just beat him was at Denver? No, I think that was the Minnesota Timberwolves. And shout out to Anthony Edwards. Going through the tunnel talking about Ant-Man, Batman, Superman. Wolves in 5. Wolves in 5, right? So we got that. But throughout this series, JJ Redick proved just how much of a buffoon and a clown he was, especially with some of his antics and his immaturity. that a lot of you dudes were trying to characterize as passion. Oh, he's just so passionate. I mean, look, he's having a breakdown on the sideline. He's just so passionate. He just broke a clipboard. Man, he's really into this, right? And as that was happening, I was going to the internet and I came across an article, and it was like old clips of JJ Redick on the ESPN surface that are making him look bad. I'm like, well, this is interesting. This is interesting. So I was like, well, let me do a little bit of digging here. Let's see if we can pull up some clips of JJ Redick making a complete buffoon of himself on ESPN. And folks, there was a lot of material, but we're just going to play a little bit of it for you guys, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Pat Riley here himself. JJ Redick here himself, making a fool of himself on ESPN. Take a listen to that there.
I think that the overriding point that we're making, no, not that anyone wants anyone to punch anyone in the playoffs, but there is a degree, the softening of the game, a lot of it comes from the constant complaining to the officials, the constant whining, the constant selling
Michael Jordan didn't complain to the officials.
Michael Jordan,
Larry Bird didn't. Come on, guys.
He wasn't selling calls.
This nostalgia that you have for the 80s and 90s, like a great era of basketball. It's awesome. But it's at the dispense of our generation of players, and it has been for the last 15 years. And it's annoying. That's annoying, Stephen.
That is a joke. That is a joke. You got to be fair. It's an absolute joke.
You know
it's
not
true,
man.
It's not true. It's not true. Today, at the expense of today's players.
But the players in the 90s didn't complain. Gary Payton didn't complain.
Nobody said they didn't complain.
Come on, man.
We all know. We all know that Jordan complained. We all know that Magic complained. That's where you lose your argument. You can't find people that said Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and others didn't complain. Magic Johnson and them were complaining all the time about
our generation of players complains, and that's
nobody said that.
Those guys didn't complain on
Nobody said
literally
that.
Every single play when they did or didn't get a call. They also weren't selling.
Did you watch the Spurs dynasty? You're telling me Tim Duncan didn't complain all the time?
Well, that was a lot more recently than we're talking about.
That was the 90s.
Second of all, well, I mean, the dynasty
and when
really
he
was
did,
in the 2000s.
we complained about him complaining.
Huh? I didn't hear that.
When he did complain, we complained about him complaining. We told players stop whining back then too.
There's also
so why should y'all be absolved from it?
The whole concept.
I'm not saying we should be absolved from it. I'm saying the standard that you guys have set, this nostalgic standard that you've set for players in the 80s and 90s, and then comparing us to it all the time, like we are a substandard to that, it gets annoying. And a lot of your arguments, like complaining to the officials, that's the same thing that players did back then. And if you want to watch finals games that are 75 to 72, by all means, have your nostalgic era, please.
No. The nostalgic era that we're talking about, that we're lamenting, is not players complaining. Not me, anyway. What I'm saying is that the officials shouldn't be looking to tee up people and eject dudes just for getting in each other's face when obviously there's no fisticuffs taking place. And that's a problem. What are you talking about?
They did in game two. They did in game two.
Not in game two, right.
Them.
I thought we were talking about the game. I didn't thought we were talking about game two now. I thought we were talking about the overall old era compared to now. That's where I thought you were when you brought up the other names.
That's a form of leadership. Now I want to address Stephen A's point. Since when is it players' jobs to educate people on basketball? When did that become a thing? Isn't that our job? Isn't that our job?
I'll answer.
I do that as my job. That's my job to educate people on basketball.
I'm letting you speak, and then I'll answer.
It's our job, Stephen A., to educate people on basketball.
Have been doing their job. And you bring up the question, you periodically ask questions like this. Have you been in the locker room with a player? Well, that depends on how you look at it, because you've interviewed players in locker rooms, if you're me, for decades. You've done that if you're Mike Wilbon. Mike Wilbon co-authored the book that CP3 ultimately wrote. Okay, he went to a scribe in order to do that. Just because you didn't play and you didn't play on that level doesn't mean you don't
Stephen
know.
A., don't jump on that bridge. Don't jump on that bridge.
Well, you know
I was not bringing it up. You don't need to tell me your track record. I have told you a million times.
I'm not talking about my track record.
Show. I know you are a legend. You are a legendary journalist. Mike Wilbon is a legendary journalist. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about being in the locker room after a game.
Well, what are you talking about then?
This is.
You the one that brought it up. I'm asking you what you're talking about.
The day-to-day work that is put in when the cameras are off. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the sanctity of a locker room.
But it doesn't matter.
The sanctity of a practice. We don't have privilege to see inside that. We don't. The Lakers winning the Western Conference because of what Stephen A. said. I do not think they can beat the Denver Nuggets.
But see, why do people make all these concessions? Oh, it was a tough back-to-back. It was a this or that.
I'm not
you make concessions for every.
I'm contextualizing the loss
I'll let you
last night,
speak.
Shannon.
I know you do a great job of contextualizing, but let me speak. The problem that I have with you and others is that you make concessions for every other team in the West, not named the Lakers. If the Lakers had lost on a back-to-back, you would have said they're old and tired. Well, let me ask you this. Who are Phoenix wing stoppers on the defensive end? We saw LeBron hunt Kawhi Leonard. We saw LeBron James do what he did. Who's going to guard LeBron James for the Clippers? Who's going to guard LeBron James for Phoenix?
LeBron James didn't hunt Kawhi Leonard in that fourth quarter. Clippers switched more than any team.
They put him in the pick and roll. They put him in the pick and roll.
Daniel Tice on LeBron James in that fourth quarter. He hit 2 transition threes. They messed up the first three. They messed up the switch on Horn's chest. They messed up the switch on Horn's chest. Then he hits 2 transition threes. Then he hits a 3 over Daniel Tice. Now all of a sudden they're forced to double. He was not hunting Kawhi Leonard. Shannon,
let me ask you a question. If Kawhi Leonard is if Kawhi Leonard is what you said, why didn't he fight harder over that pick? See, that's what Kobe did. That's what Jordan did. That's what LeBron did when he was in his prime. He fought over picks. So answer that question, Mr. Contextualization.
Shannon, you're going to have to ask Ty Lue that question.
Fantastic. So you heard that, right? You heard JJ Redick ranting and raving and blah, blah, blah. Let me tell y'all, the first part that we played with him and Stephen A. Smith having an argument about the eras, that right there was the reason that a lot of people went sour on JJ Redick. A lot of people stopped liking him when he started spewing out that rhetoric. And do you know what? When we first got the news that JJ Redick was going to ESPN, we actually did a show talking about how excited we were. It's on the channel. Looking forward to the things he was going to bring to ESPN. It's on the channel. But then when I saw him on there and I realized he was just another twerking ass twerker out there defending this era, go look at the interview he did with Ben Simmons. Like, is that an interview? Was that an interview? So JJ Redick now created this thing of going at the eras before him, to the point where NBA legends were calling him out. Not me. NBA legends. Dominique Wilkins, Bob Cousy, Jerry West, the Michael Coopers of the world, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And JJ Redick just kept on making more and more enemies, alienating a lot of NBA fans. Then he had that rant on Doc Rivers. That guy never takes accountability. Did you hear him in this clip? Complaining about physicality and fouls and other. Wasn't it the same JJ Redick that was complaining about to the referees just the other day about Luka not? What happened? What's happening now is that JJ Redick's arrogance is coming to bite him in the butt. That's exactly what's happened. I heard a clip yesterday from Doug Gottlieb. He was essentially saying you can't be this arrogant with no resume. Like, it makes no sense. The level of self-delusion is just. We can't even stomach it at this point. JJ acts like as if he has 10 championships as a coach. He has not. Folks, JJ Redick, to his resume, he has 1 playoff win. That is what he has to his resume. And I am glad people are beginning to see through it, because people were giving him a pass he did not deserve. You heard the big argument that Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. Smith had yesterday on ESPN First Take, where they were like, no, I'm going to blame JJ Redick for his inability to make adjustments. I was watching that Clippers game yesterday against the Denver Nuggets, and I'm looking at Ty Lue pull different levers, try different things. He had none, pulled him out, brought in Nick Batum, then brought out this guy, brought out that, trying different things, making adjustments, in-game adjustments, playing chess. And I almost wanted to put a post on the channel community board like, JJ, take notes. This is how you actually make adjustments in a playoff game. That's what I wanted to do. And when coaches like Ty Lue and all of them lose, they don't get defensive and become rude with the reporters for asking them questions. JJ does. And Ty Lue has a championship. JJ Redick has nothing except a lot of hair gel. Right? So to me, it feels very good. This is what happens when you make a buffoon out of yourself. And I think every bit of smoke that JJ Redick got coming his way, he deserves it. And I think we should not take him seriously until he proves himself. Folks, you cannot talk your way to a championship. Sports is a result-based industry. It's either you have them or you don't. And a lot of people were covering for JJ like as if he did. A lot of people were like, no, give him the grace, man. Give him the grace. And I'm like, but I never saw you dudes with Darvin Ham. I never saw you dudes with Darvin Ham. Why all of a sudden you want to give JJ Redick? But I know why. I've already said one of the reasons why. But the other reason is because that's LeBron's guy. So I don't want to go against LeBron. So I'm going to support. I said it in another show and I'm going to say it again. If LeBron did Mind the Game podcast alongside an orangutan, and we found out that the orangutan was going to be interviewing for the Lakers job, LeBron fans and his supporters and his friends, man, I think this orangutan could do something special. I really think he could do something special. I mean, we just got to give him a shot. I mean, he looks like he brushes his teeth. I mean, this orangutan may know what he's doing. This is the cult. This is the cult. But because Darvin Ham, he didn't like him, and there was a green light on Darvin Ham. A green light on him. But it's now time for JJ Redick to get the roast. You have been summoned down to the carpet. Come get this work. Did you hear JJ in them clips? Did you hear him? Did you hear him? Did you hear him? And you wonder why so many people don't like him. You wonder why. All of that hollering and screaming, going at Doc Rivers, saying all of this stuff about Doc Rivers, about accountability. Look where that got you. And I don't feel sorry for him. I don't feel sorry for him. It's about damn time. Son went through an entire NBA season without getting criticized. So now it ain't harsh. This is just a backlog. They need to catch up to all of those months that they let him go by.